Oh my gosh, man, this thing loses so much oil right now. Yo guys, what's up? Welcome back to a brand new video. And guess what? We've got our mic this time. Yeah, boy. So all of the feedback about the bad audio, hopefully that isn't the case anymore. So on today's video, what we're gonna be taking a look at is all the oil leaks this Prelude causes. As you saw earlier in the intro, this thing leaks oil 24/7. Alrighty, so what we're going to be doing today is replacing the oil pan gasket, the cam seal gasket, and the rocker cover gasket. I'm going to be also changing the oil filter and filling it up with more oil. What I chose was the Liquid Moly 1540. It's pretty thick oil, so even if it does leak in the future because it's really thick, it won't leak heaps.
That's pretty cool.
And Liquid Moly is pretty good stuff. And then at the same time, I already picked up this rocker cover. Got it for free, which is pretty cool. So I'll give it a brand new paint job. So we'll match the calipers. And then we've also got some ignition coils. So we'll put these in. So we'll make our engine bay look a lot better. Alrighty, so I'll show you guys what we have to do to this Prelude. So as you can see, oh my gosh. So this is what the rocker cover looks like at the moment. I just know on these engines that the rocker cover can blow kind of quick. So I just want to make sure that it won't in the future. But it doesn't look like it's leaking any from here now. But when we go under the car, you'll see it. So look at all of that oil. It's all leaking, which I think it was all from the rocker cover originally, but then it got changed. And then I also know the oil pan gaskets on these are pretty trash. So I'll just change that as well as we're under here. Alrighty, so we just took the downpipe out, which is now there. So pretty much what we had to do to get to the oil pan in this car is we have to take off the downpipe, which connects there and up here. And then now we'll just take out the oil pan, which is just full of all those bolts all around the side. And which I think is the issue, is there's a lot of oil around this, and I can actually see oil around all of the bolt. Why is there not one there? Oh my gosh, bro, that's probably why there's not a bolt there. Yeah, so we'll have to drain the oil first and then we'll swap everything around. I'm guessing this will be a 17 mil sock. 317. Oh, what a gas lucky.
We don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care. Jerry.
Okay, now that we've broke that, let's try not to spill any oil. Oh, I dropped the bolt.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh my gosh, that oil is so black. That's not good. All right, we'll just let that all flow out. I wish I could record me taking off the filter as well. In this car, it is a pretty difficult position, so I'll just take it off and I'll show you guys later. Alrighty, so we just got that oil filter off. I'll show you in a second. This is our new one, so I'll just put this one on real quick. Oh my gosh, you will not believe this, guys. Look how bad this oil looks. Like, what the hell? So now I'm just going to take off the oil pan. There's just all those bolts around it. I'm just scared about that one missing one. I'm going to have to somehow find a bolt somewhere that's the exact same. But yeah, I'll just take that off right now. Just took the oil pan out and it looks a little bit milky.
Hey there, Forrest. Goo goo gaga. I want milk.
So that's usually an indicator that coolant or water has got in here, which isn't optimal for the engine. But yeah, we'll move. So I just cleaned off the oil pan and under the oil pan gasket, so I'll show you it now. So look how much better this oil pan looks like. So what I'm going to do now is put that oil pan back on and just torque all the bolts to spec. So now everything is bolted down. All that's left to do for this oil pan is just torque everything down. So yeah, very happy with how that went. Okay guys, and while I've been doing that, I've also been doing this. Take a look at this. This is the new rocker cover gasket, and it is the exact same paint as what I have on my brake calipers. All right, so now what we need to do is deal with this valve cover gasket. So this is what it looks like in the moment. This engine bay is definitely not the prettiest, but yeah, I'm just gonna get everything out of the way just so I can pull it out. And that is what our
Hold up, something ain't right.
Our valve cover looks like. So as you see, it's actually not that bad. Even the gasket was pretty much fine. I'm just gonna replace it anyway because I'm replacing valve covers. But then that's the cam button at the moment, which I can't see anything leaking from, and I can't see anything below it leaking. So I'm actually just gonna leave it for now, and I'll replace it when it starts leaking in the future, which is, for say, it's usually about every year, but you know, I can't be stuff doing all that work if it doesn't need to be replaced right now.
You stupid.
It is a new day and it is really cold and wet. As you can see, this is the environment right now, but I do have something I want to show. So this is the new rocker cover that I painted, which looks a lot better than the old one there. There's just a couple of things I'm gonna have to do to get this one on instead of that one. So this has a lot of seals on the back, which you can see here, and here. We'll need to move these and put them onto the new one. And then I'm also just gonna make that Honda badge look a bit better by shaving off all of the paint that's on it so it'll look nice and silver. So I'll show you guys how it looks.
Boy.
All right, so now we'll put the gasket on for this. Oh my gosh, guys. I don't know if you can see, but in that cylinder, in cylinder 1 and cylinder 4, the tops of the ignition coil fell off here. I don't know how I'm gonna get that out. We'll see.
2 hours later.
All right, so everything is plugged back in. I did manage to bump it in a couple spots, so the paint isn't looking the absolute best, but it definitely looks a lot better before. So the only thing left to do now is to put new oil in it. All right, guys, because I don't actually have a funnel at the moment, what I did was got a carton of milk, cut the top, and then got all of the residue out, and I'm gonna use this as my funnel. So this car takes about 4 liters, and this is a 5 liter, so I'll put in about 3.5, and then from that point, I'll just check the dipstick.
Sigma boy.
Alrighty, the only thing left to do now is actually turn the car on. And because the downpipe is still off, I'm really curious to see how loud this thing's gonna be. So I'm gonna turn it on. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna leave the mic in the engine bay. Let's see how loud it is. Oh my gosh, that was loud. All right, guys, that exhaust is fully back on, not going anywhere. But I just found the culprit of our oil leak. It's because our transmission plug, look at that, guys, look at that. You can move it. It was never tightened. And that's why this whole ground here is covered in oil, because whoever did this transmission oil last didn't even tighten it. So annoying. I'm gonna have to replace all of my trans fluid now. Man, why do people not tighten things? So as we just saw, our transmission was leaking fluid crazy for 2 reasons. The guy before me did not tighten it enough, and I did not realize that it was not tightened enough. So it has been leaking all over my driveway for the last 3 months while I've been trying to figure out where this big oil leak's coming from. So yeah, so what we need to do is put some more oil into it. And what I found was really interesting about these cars is that the trans fluid that you need for it is a 1030, which is crazy because that's so thin. Usually, like on my Rexy, I use a 75W90, which is a lot different than this. So I picked up the super cheap auto brand. Why I got that one, because it's the cheapest, I was actually slightly wrong. This is actually the drain bolt here, and that's where we fill the oil up from, because that's in a really tough spot. I've had to take off the intake at the top and then get this, and then we'll probably just be able to fit this into the new refill spot. So what we're gonna do first is take this off, just to make sure that we can put new oil in before we drain it all. Because like, what if we drained it all now and then we can't even fill it up? Then it would be pretty bad. But yeah, we'll just take that off, and then we'll take this off, drain all the oil, and then put the new oil in. Oh, it actually did drain some oil, as you can see. You know what? That oil does not look old at all. The oil actually looks really good. All right, I'll just put this back in now, just because it's pretty much empty. And now that this one is in, I will just tighten it back up, and then we'll fill up the oil. All right, that's more than tight enough. All right, so let's just put the new oil in. All right, so this is the setup we're using. So my oil filler is just down there, so we have to take the whole intake pipe off. But then since doing that, we go under the car. We can see hose is connected in like that. So it might leak a little bit of oil, but it should be more than fine. All right, so for this car, you're supposed to put in 1.9 liters. So what I'll do is I'll put in maybe like I'll put in like 1.5 liters, and then from there I'll just check if it's going to be flowing out from the bottom, and if it is, then we know we've got enough in it. Yo guys, what is up? And I know you're probably wondering, Lockie, why is your room so skibbity sigma cool? Oh, look at all these cars. So basically, the rest of the footage got corrupted. Yeah, I know, it's tragic. But don't worry, the car is fine and everything got finished. So as some of you know, I like to do a devotion at the end of my videos. Because in everything I do, I want to honor God. And while I was working on this car for this video, I was actually listening to the book of James. And this James is actually the brother of Jesus, so it's pretty important. And it's goated. It's only like 5 chapters long, so you can read it in like 10 minutes, but it's so full of wisdom. James pretty much tells us as Christians how to live and how to be accountable. So what I really like about the book of James is that every chapter is really practical in our lives. So in chapter 1, he pretty much tells us how to endure trials with joy, to ask God for wisdom, and to not just hear the word of God, which is the Bible, but to actually live it out. And in chapter 2, he calls us out and to not show favoritism, and tells us that faith without works is pretty much dead. And in chapter 3, he reminds us to tame our tongues and to seek wisdom that comes from above and not from ourselves. And in chapter 4, it says to fully submit yourself to God and to resist the devil and to live humbly. And in chapter 5, it warns the rich about pride, but also calls believers to be patient and to pray in every situation. And also, I just got a little plug that I want to mention. I actually do short form content, which is reading the Bible every day until we finish the whole Bible, which is 1,189 days, which is how many chapters there are in the Bible. And all of those videos are posted on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. So I'll put the links for them all in the description. And if any of you have any questions at all, you can always reach me on Instagram on Lockie Auto for like car sort of questions, or Lockie_Miller, which is pretty much my faith account. All right, that's all for today. Thank you for watching so much, and God bless you.